It's game time, bitches! That's right, it is time to start the Amazing Readathon right now. It's literally 2 p.m. as I'm filming this. I'm about to start my first book for Team Spooky. The House is Haunted by John Boyne. I know nothing about it other than he was the person that wrote The Boy with the Striped Pajamas, and this is a horror by that author. And he's queer, so it's going to get me some bonus points for Team Spooky. So I'm going to jump into this. I have the audio, so hopefully I can smash it out pretty quickly. It's a 9-hour audio, so I can finish this tonight, maybe? Well, I am going to have an early night because I'm going to be jumping on sprints at 1 a.m. my time when Brie kicks off later today. So Adeline is still sleeping. Don't jinx it. I'm going to sit down and start this. I'm excited. I'll tell you when I know more. Okay, so I've made it to chapter 8 of The House is Haunted, which is about 98 pages or 25% in. And I was getting ready to DNF. I was getting ready to just like not finish this book, not count it, pick something else for my first like leg. And then I was like, no, I'm already like halfway to halfway. I may as well like push through to halfway. And then something really exciting happened, like that last chapter that I just finished. And now I'm kind of like interested to find out what's going to happen. If it gets slow again, I might give up again, but by then I'll probably be so close to 50%, I may as well just continue. But the premise that we have so far of this book is there's this woman, Eliza Kane. Her father has just died, and she's decided to take up a position as a governess at Gordlin Hall. On her way there, she's like murdered by she's attempted to be murdered by a blank pair of hands. Like they try and push her onto the train. And then now in the house, creepy things keep happening with like imaginary things. And there's no parents there. There's only 2 children and they seem like super weird. Like the little boy seems almost like he knows something, but he's obviously been told not to say anything. And then the little girl seems evil. Like I just don't trust her at all. It's very historical fiction thriller, like historical fiction horror. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes because the writing is very like old fashioned. I don't even know when this was first originally published. I would say like 90s maybe. I'd have to look into it. Maybe 2009. Like it's a fairly old story. 2013 is when it says, but it feels like it's reading much older, much younger than that. Older than that? Yeah, much older than that. So I'm going to continue a bit more. I'll let you know when I get to 50% whether I'm going to DNF there and just count the 50% worth of pages or if I'm going to push through. But yes, I'm 100 pages in, so we shall continue and see where we go. Okay, so I've made it to 186 pages in The House is Haunted. I'm on sprints with Brie at the moment. It's 3:20 in the morning. I'm about to go back to bed. I am going to DNF this, log the 187 pages that I have read because I just like am so not invested in this story. There's been like 2 pages where I've been kind of spooked, and it's only because it's raining and at 3 o'clock in the morning and my house was creaking. Other than that, I have been very uninvested. The only reason I would want to keep reading is to find out what's going on in the villa, but I think I'll just read Goodreads and I'm sure someone will have a spoiler review which will give me enough information to give me what I need. So I am going to DNF this and now I am going to pick up my first sightseeing prompt for Team Spooky. I put a poll in the Discord. I'm going to do this with every team that I'm participating for. I'm going to pick a book for every level of prompts. So one for 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500 sightseeing prompts, and then put an emoji prompt, I can't even think, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Put an emoji poll in Discord and then they'll vote. So they voted on, it was between 2. It was between The Creeper by A.M. Shine and Ghost Stories by E.F. Benson. And the one that won is Ghost Stories by E.F. Benson, which unfortunately I'm reading for a 100-point sightseeing prompt. But it is quite nice and short, but I am reading it physically because I don't have the audiobook. So there is 5 minutes left to sprint, so I'll get this started, maybe get a couple pages in, and then I will pick it up again on my sprint later today when I sprint after I go back and have some more sleep. DNFing this and probably giving it like 1.5 stars. I think it's because I went into it thinking it was going to be a horror, and it read exactly like a historical fiction. There was really not a lot of information in there that was horror-y at all. It wasn't even very gothic-y in terms of the vibe. So yeah, just not my vibe, which is really annoying because I really loved The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. But I think it's because I went into that thinking it was going to be a historical fiction, and this very much was not. So it's been a little while since I've updated you on what I've been reading. It is now the 3rd here in Australia, but it's the 2nd in America. So it's day 2 of the readathon. And I have finished my travel book and 2 sightseeing books. I'm halfway through a 3rd, which I hope to get finished tonight when I get home because I have the audio so I can kind of listen to it while I'm doing some stuff around the house. But as you would have just seen, I headed to my local library because I got made redundant today. So I had some spare time. I left work early. And I don't have to pick Addie up from daycare straight away. So I decided to go to the library, and I walked in and they were having a $1 book sale, like getting rid of some of the stuff they're no longer keeping in their collection, or you could fill a bag for $5. I ended up just getting 5 books. I paid the $5 anyways because I didn't want to get anything else to fill a bag, just to fill a bag. And I got the following. So I got The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult because it's one of the only ones of her collection that I don't own because it's one of her newer ones. I got Shatter Me, which is book 1 in the Shatter Me series, because I kind of want to try this series, but I didn't want to actually like spend a lot of money getting it. So for $1, I figured I would get it and add it ready to be able to try. I got Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. I recently went to the Sydney Book Festival with some of my work colleagues, and we went and saw Lauren Groff speak, and I had never read any of her work, and this happened to be there. So I was like, you know what, if I'm going to give it a try, why not for $1? Then I got Without Merit by Colleen Hoover, because why not walk away with a Colleen Hoover? And then the last one I got is kind of fitting because it's for Team Spooky. It's called In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. And all it says on the back, which is what kind of sold me, was a perfect book to read when you're safely tucked in your home, your back to the wall, while outside your door the wind rips the leaves from the trees and the woods grow dark. I read a book for the start of this vlog, as you would have seen, called The House is Haunted. I expected that to give me like chills and be scared, and I was not. So I'm hoping that this gives me that vibe next time that I end up on Team Spooky. I then also borrowed some books as well, so I'll show you those. I got, oh shit, there's someone coming to the car next to me, hold on. This woman is taking forever to leave. Oh my God, will you just start your car and leave so I can talk to my people? She's like this little old lady, so I guarantee you she probably doesn't even know just what I'm doing. Okay, so the first thing that I picked up is a Psalm for the Wild build, which is one of the host's favorites for Team Sci-Fi, I believe. All I know about this is it follows like a cute little robot that everybody is obsessed with. So yeah, I grabbed that because I wanted to read a host favorite, and it's nice and skinny, so it'll be good for a sightseeing book maybe, I don't know. And I didn't have a lot of sightseeing options for fantasy. Then I got a graphic novel called Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy, which honestly I just needed a romance, and I thought I read lots of boy hockey romances, so why not read it where the hockey person is a girl? And then I got volume 1, 2 and 3 of Fence, because I've had the electronic version of Fence on my Kindle for ages, and I figured if I'm going to read it, I may as well read the physical, and volume 1, 2, and 3 were there, so I figured why the hell not. So that's my little library haul for you. I'm going to go pick up my daughter from daycare and head home and get my last travel sightseeing book finished. I should probably actually tell you the books that I have read as my 2 sightseeing books, but they were not worth mentioning. They were terrible. I mean, I think in total, all the books that I read have got me like 1,000 points, give or take. I don't know. But I haven't had a good read yet. So I'm hoping I get a better one soon. Okay, so I'm out in the shed because I'm getting some stuff ready for my parents coming to visit. I have finished 2 more books. I finished The Muse by Jeffrey Deaver, which was an Audible original, I think. This was actually really, really interesting and kind of spooky. It followed a character who was an author, and someone used his book as inspiration for a crime. And so he gets brought in to like talk about the investigation. And then there's a couple other twists and turns that happen. It's really short, but it manages to pack like a really good punch in such a small kind of like context. And the next one that I finished, which I just finished listening to, so I don't have the physical copy, but I borrowed it from the library, is The Little Old Lady is Up to No Good, I think is what it's called. And this follows a 80-year-old woman whose entire goal is to just like murder people, and she gets away with it, and she's so cute, and I loved everything about her. And I definitely think that if you're looking for a quick book to read for sightseeing for the rest of this like readathon, or just a short book to read in general that you'll have a fun time with, then yeah, definitely pick this one up. I feel like it is apparently there's a duology. I think there's another one in the series. A lot of people that saw that I was reading this said that I shouldn't continue because I probably won't like the second one, because you like how you think about the main character definitely changes. So I think I'm going to stick with just the first one and leave it at that. I probably give it about 4 stars. I had a really good time with it. So I managed to finish that just in time. I know a new prompt is probably going to drop soon. So I'll come back and update you when that happens. So it's probably windy, but I was just chilling in my garden and the new prompt has dropped. So I am now on team general fiction instead of team spooky. And it is time for me to, start reading something general fiction wise. This is dual POV. I did have one that I was going to choose. I started and got about 20% into it and then realized that it wasn't dual POV. So I put it down, and I'm now going to listen to Carrie Soto is Back because I have the Libro FM advanced listener copy. So I'm going to listen to that and see how we go. I'll come back and update you when I finish it, because I think I'm just going to smash it out while I do some yard work. And then, so I'll come back and tell you what I think when I get a bit further along. So I'm currently on sprints and I am really annoyed. So what I did earlier today was I started my book for the Buona series, like the race, which was If You Want to Make God Laugh. Is that what it's called? Yeah, If You Want to Make God Laugh. And I got about 20% in, and then I realized that there was a third POV, so I had to find another book to read. So I'm currently listening to Carrie Soto is Back. I'm about 50% through. I mean, it's meh, it's okay. I'm not loving it, but I'm also not hating it. But I'm very keen for it to be finished so that I can read one of the books that I put on my poll for the general fiction team to vote for. At the moment, the book that is winning is this one, but we shall see, because I still have a few more minutes left of my sprint. But once the sprint is over, I'll check the poll and see which one is winning, and that'll be the one that I read. And then after I finish that one, I will probably pick up, I have an arc that I need to read for an author, which has a car on the cover. I can't remember the name of the title. It's eluding me at the moment, but this is it. I need to read this arc for this author to review. It came out on the 28th of May and I had to push it back a little bit. So I kind of want to read it and review it for him in this video. So I'll probably pick up that next. And then that will probably be the only 2 books that I'll get to sightsee, I think, because if my gut tells me, I guarantee there'll be a new prompt coming by the time those are both read, because I have to read them both physically. But yeah, I'll tell you about those books as I start to read them. But I think that's going to be my plan in terms of what I get read for Team General Fiction in the second leg of the race. And then it'll probably be time to almost get ready to start editing this vlog to get to you guys for the end of the week. So I've officially landed in Buenos Aires. I finished Carrie Soto is back, and I'm starting my first sightseeing book, which is The Writing Gallery. And I just realized that Sally Murphy is actually a queer author, so this is even better because it gets me the bonuses. So it's written in verse, which is kind of interesting, and we're following the perspective of I think 3 or 4 different people. So we'll see how it goes. It follows a story of a group of people that are going through the cloud of World War I as it approaches in Melbourne, St Kilda, which is in Australia, and apparently it's based on a true story. So we'll see what I think, but so far I'm enjoying it. I'm only like 17 pages in. Carrie Soto, I think I'm gonna give 3 stars. I didn't mind it. It was interesting. I was kind of a little bit bored in the middle, and there was a lot of tennis references, like a lot. But it was very much a Taylor Jenkins Reid book in the fact that it felt like you were reading the story about a real person, a real life character. The news articles in the audiobook were really cool. Like, it kind of felt very an interesting touch to it. So all in all, I think I'm going to give it 3 stars. Yeah, I'm in Buenos Aires and I'm going sightseeing. So I just finished The Writing Gallery and I'm giving it 5 stars, maybe 4.5. I loved everything about this. The only thing is that it was written in verse, which is not my jam, and that's probably why it's 4.5. But the story and the concept and the memory that is wrapped up in this book was great and excellent. And I love that this is a kid's book and that this is available for kids to read, because it's a really palatable way to take in such a hard-hitting story. So Sally Murphy, well done. 5 stars, fantastic. Okay, so I just got to work, and on my drive, I read a book. Oh, I read a book. I read this book. And every morning, the way home gets longer and longer, by Frederick Backman. This man has the ability to write books that hit me so hard, and I read them at the perfect time in my life for them to hit me more than they probably should. So when I read A Man Called Uwe, we had an elderly neighbor who was a close friend of ours who was sick, and he died the day that I finished A Man Called Uwe. I literally finished and then got the call that he had passed away that morning. And I read this morning, went into it completely blind, not knowing what it was about, knowing it was going to be sad. And last night my mama told me that my grandfather, who has dementia, was going into a home. This story follows a man with dementia or Alzheimer's and him saying goodbye to his family. So it hit me. This is a 5-star read, and everyone will experience different emotions when they read this. But in this book, there are quotes that will stay with me for a very long time and made me ugly cry. For 50% of my drive to work today, Frederick Backman, you're a genius. You are my favorite author of all time. I'm going to clean myself up and go to work now. But just know, if you want to ugly cry, this is the book for you. So I realized as I was editing this vlog, getting ready to put it up for you guys, that I've read a sightseeing book and I didn't tell you about it. And it's one that I feel like I should, because the author specifically sent it to me to read and review. And I thought I had said something about it, but I must have just like said the thoughts in my head and didn't actually put it on camera. So here we go. So the book I want to tell you about is Boyhood by Reuben Fenton. This was sent to me by Reuben directly to read and review. It read really quickly, which was a great experience. This follows two brothers, I think they're twins, and they have been estranged for a long time. And their mother, an untimely death, means that they need to get together for the funeral. And what happens is while they're at the funeral, they realize that although they've believed that they were Jewish their entire life, they're actually not Jewish. So they decide that they are going to go on a road trip for Rumspringa, and they go through America's Deep South, and they meet like all these people, some really interesting side characters, and a one-eyed dog, which was a really cool side character, just to kind of like rediscover their faith. So the thing I liked about this, it was very different. It was like a coming of age story, but the main character was like middle-aged. So he was like rediscovering himself and his faith. I did like the polarity between the two main characters. So one was like super cool and one was super geeky, and it made for like a really intriguing experience because you didn't get like stale and stuck in one type of character. And the road trip certainly like was my favorite part of the book. It made like for a really good kind of like character driven learning to get to know the characters part of the story. So it read really fun because you were like finding out about a new friend. But if I have to point out like my two favorite things of the story, it would definitely be Popeye, the one-eyed dog. He was like the best thing ever. I don't need to say more. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about, or if you read the book, you will know what I'm talking about. And I think the pop culture references, there was like a few pop culture references for the time of the story that just like made sense to me and were really funny and relatable. So all in all, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars. It was not like amazing. I'm not gonna like think about it for the rest of my life, but I had a really good time while I was reading it, and I really appreciate Reuben for sending me this. So thank you so much for that. And now let's get back to the rest of the vlog. We are officially on leg 3. The prompts just dropped and I am on team sci-fi. I have waited for this. I was very, very excited to pick up Dead Silence, but it didn't hit the prompt. So I am going to be reading Shatter Me, which is a book that features nature on the cover. I've wanted to read the series for a while, but I was always worried it was going to be like too middle grade. But then, as you would have seen earlier in this vlog, I picked it up in a library sale for $1. So I had it here ready to go, and I figured, why not? It's got nature on the cover. It's a quick audio book with like almost 400 pages. I can probably smash this out pretty quickly and get some points for sci-fi. So that's what I'm going to be jumping into now. I will come back and update you when I get it finished. But so far, I'm excited because it has been on my like anticipated list for a while. And I'm back and I'm finished and it's 5 stars and I had a really good time with this, and I will definitely be continuing the series. I mean, the more I think about this book, I'm probably better off giving it like a 4.5 stars. Like, it's not one that I'm gonna like remember forever, and it's not one I'm definitely gonna like shout from the rooftops about. But I had a really good time while I was reading it, and it's like that fun dystopian YA that like, you know, someone of my age grew up with and really enjoyed. So it was fun to kind of like be back in that world again. The only thing I think that bugged me about this was the fact that when she was describing like his touch and like them being together, it was very flowery writing and like it seemed out of place. And then also there was like sections where she would be talking, because the whole point is that she's writing in her notebook, and she would be talking and then like cross it out, which to me was quite annoying in the audiobook, because it would be like she'd say the sentence, you'd hear this scratch out sound and then like continue to talk, which like it was just a bit disjarring, a little bit. And that's probably why it's more of a 4.5 than a 5, because of those few like writing elements that like, although they work and kind of make sense with the story, didn't really work with me as a reader. But other than that, I had a really good time with it. I am now going to go and listen to book 2 in the Murderbot series, because I have a feeling that there is going to be a new like thing happen soon. But I know that Faceoff is starting imminently. So I want to get one more sightseeing book in, because I've pretty much done a sightseeing book for each team. So I want to make sure I do at least one for each team. So I'm going to go listen to Artificial Intelligence, I think it is, which is book 2 in the Murderbot series, before I have to go pick up Addie from daycare. So I will come back and update you on my thoughts on that shortly. So I didn't get anything else read before Faceoff started. So I'm going to leave it here, because I will do Faceoff in a separate video. So thank you so much for watching. If you do like this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, bye.